So you ain't happy with yourself in life. You know you want to change. Congratulations, that's more than most, but it isn't quite enough, is it? You wake up every single day, rinse and repeat, going through the motions, but nothing seems to change. You know you want to do more in your life, but the fact that you're not performing what you could be makes you feel even worse in yourself. Trust me, bro, I've been there. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how to get out of a rut, how to fix it, right? So, you know what you need to do, but you're not doing it. That probably makes you feel even worse. You get to the end of the day and you're like, I could have done this, I could have done that. Your brain is focused on the negativity, not focused on the growth, but that's not going to help you, is it? So I was in a rut recently and it's pretty easy for me to climb out. I've been in ruts before, over and over and over again in my life, like so many times. So that's where I've developed the skill, right? You know, recently I was smoking a lot more, eating junk food, going to bed late, playing games too much. And it started off with one or two nights. Oh, sure, that can't hurt me. And it spiraled and spiraled and spiraled till it got out of control. So here's the good news. The good news is a spiral downwards, you just need the inverse. You can spiral upwards, right? I looked in the mirror. I was like, who the fuck am I? Like I was waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, reading, meditating, making these videos, helping people, posting and creating content constantly. And I lost all of that because of myself, because of my own actions. So I had to take accountability for that, of course. And I thought, my future family, I'm at the stage in life, I'm 25, coming up to 25 now. So I'm thinking about the next stage of my life. And I'm thinking, if I had a little son, a little daughter, who am I going to be for them? You know, I need to be an inspiration to them and I need to be a better person for them. But also my ancestors, your ancestors, slaved away, went through all the harsh and cold nights in the winters when there was no shelter and whatnot, hunting and whatever the fuck our ancestors did. It was way harder than the lives we live today, where everything's easy and convenient. You can order shit on your phone and everything's just a tap and a swipe away, right? It's a waste of my bloodline and your bloodline to be sitting here and wasting your fucking potential, bro. And that's what I was thinking to myself. So I'm going to get into it. There's 5 easy steps. You follow these steps and I guarantee you're going to get out of your rut, right? So step number 1 is whatever losses you've had, however far you've fallen, stop making yourself feel bad for it. Cut your losses. Because at the end of the day, the emotional guilt is probably like 50%, if not more, of what's keeping you in the position that you're in now, right? A lot of the time you're thinking, I could be doing that, could be doing this, and you're focused on the negativity. If you're focused, whatever you focus on grows. If you're focused on the negativity, do you think that's going to help you get out of a spiral, out of a place where you're in a dark place? Do you really think that's going to help you, bro? Like, come on, it's not going to help you, right? So don't think about it. Cut your losses. You're at where you're at. It is what it is. That's life, right? You're only one move away from making the right move, though. That's the thing. As quick as you spiral down, you can spiral up just as fast, right? I carried this fuck you energy to myself. Looked in the mirror and said, fuck you, bro. I ain't being this little bitch ass fucking twerp anymore. I couldn't think of a word there. I ain't being a little gamer sitting there gaming late all night anymore. That's not me. That was you in your adolescence. That's not you anymore. Like, fuck you, bro. I literally said to myself, fuck you. I'm going to be better, right? So that's the first step in this 5-step system is cut your losses, bro, because you can't do nothing about them. It's done. What's done is done. It just is what it is. You could have done better, but you didn't. But you can do better now, right? Now, the second step is you can't do everything at once. As much as I said you can spiral up just as fast, that is true, but you can't do everything all at once, generally speaking, right? Putting all that pressure on yourself is going to make it seem like an impossible mountain to climb. But if you focus on the next step ahead of you, well, you can move one step today, can't you, right? So you want to focus on one thing at a time, whether that's getting yourself back into the gym, if that's something that you was doing before, or maybe it's something you want to pick up. Whatever the highest leverage task is, what I would say, that is your only focus for that day. The thing that you're meant to be doing, that's the thing you need to do. That's the only priority. If you do this today, that is it. Pat yourself on the back. You've done a good job. Tomorrow you can always do more, right? Pick the highest leverage task because you want to move forward as far as you can. Even though you're only doing focusing on one thing, you still want that one thing to be impactful, right? You don't want to, do one little menial task and it's like you're not really actually even getting better. Pick the highest leverage task. So for a lot of people, that's going to be the gym because that's going to spark the catalyst for everything else in their life anyway. And for me, I never really was inconsistent in the gym, but perhaps I wasn't pushing as hard as I could have been, or being as in routine as I would have been, going to the gym late, so on and so forth, eating like crap, right? So pick the higher leverage task and focus on that, right? Now, even though you've got this one important task, this leads me on to the third step in this system. That's not the only thing that you've got in your day, right? Yeah, you can go gym, but what next? Be a degenerate still? Of course not. Pack as many micro wins in as possible, but don't stress if you don't complete them. You need to fucking do the highest leverage task. I'm going to keep using the example of the gym. You need to do the highest leverage task. That's a non-negotiable. No matter what, you have to get that shit done today. But the micro stuff, for me, it was things like cold showers, meditating, journaling. I wasn't going to be too harsh on myself if I missed it a day. It's really cold outside and I didn't really want to sit there freezing my fucking nuts off. You know what I'm trying to say? But these micro wins also build momentum in that upward spiral. You see, when you're in a downward spiral, you have this force, this momentum working against you. So you have to push extra hard to combat that momentum. But the inverse, it works on an inverse, right? So on your way up, you're pushing past this momentum, but you're building this energy and you'll smash through. That looks kind of crazy. But you get the point of what I'm saying, right? Is that you want to stack as many of these micro wins as possible because it's going to give you as much momentum as possible to carry into the next day. Because you're thinking, I've gone gym, I've done the meditation, I've done the cold shower, I've had an early night. So tomorrow it makes you more motivated to do the next thing. To continue that trend, right? So stacking these micro wins and tracking your progression as well really helps because you just visualize it. You can see, I wasn't doing all these things I was meant to be doing before, but I am doing it now. It's visually in front of you, and you're telling your brain, we're not that guy anymore. We're not that old guy, right? That's how you build the momentum upwards, right? Now, of course, the whole point of this is to stop doing the bad habits, and that's step number 4. Now, again, the same mentality with the micro wins. Don't be super, super harsh on yourself of like, if you're in a really big rut and you're still eating like shit, but you're going to the gym and you're doing these other things, look, that's good, that's positive momentum. But still try to eat a little bit healthier, If you've got, I don't know, you're eating loads of sugary stuff, try to just have whatever your main meals are, which might still be shit, but at least try to cut the sugar out for this evening, for this day, right? It's essentially the inverse of the micro wins, and I guess in a way it's another version of the micro wins, but it's to cut the bad habits. And that includes a dopamine detox, that includes your gaming, your shows that you're watching, sitting there scrolling on your phone. Don't stress yourself if you do these things. But the aim is, to try and cut that out as much as possible. And the fifth and the final step is change your environment. Your environment has a massive influence on your behavior, right? Like, not really a degenerate guy, but if I'm out and I'm clubbing, then I'll drink, something like that, right? And that's just an example of how your environment programs you. So if your environment, this doesn't necessarily have to be when you're out, but if your environment in your room is messy, in your room, and this actually interestingly includes all of the content you watch and the people you're around. So the people you're around is a really easy way, right? If there's people that and you do sort of a lot of degenerate shit with them, or you're sitting there gaming, look, tell your mate, look, I can't come on the games tonight, sorry bro. Because if you start talking to him, I'll hop on for one game and the one game turns to 10 and you don't want to end on a loss, trust me bro, I know the feeling, I've been there, but you're going to have to change that environment. So you want to be around the people that inspire you to be better, right? But this also includes your content. I'm sure you've heard of, and if you haven't, I guess I can quickly explain it, the concept of a parasocial relationship. Essentially, the content that you watch or the content people watch, they feel like they develop a relationship with the creator, right? Everyone knows the phrase, you are the sum of the 5 people around you, whatever the actual proper phrasing is, I don't know. But you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Well, that also in today's age extends to the content you consume, because if you're consuming a bunch of content that's degenerate, do you think you're more or less likely to do something degenerate? Again, the inverse works. So if you're consuming content of, I'm watching this form videos, or I like to watch, like recently I've been watching Dr. Andrew Huberman, just to get me in the mindset of self-improvement again, self-mastery again, taking care of my health again, so on and so forth, right? If the content that you're watching is telling you how to be a better person, then that's going to bleed into your subconscious, of course, but it's also taken away from the degeneracy, watching videos on gaming. Or recently I've been watching Star Wars lore videos. Yeah, it's interesting to me, But does it really progress my life? No. So I've been replacing that, right, with better content. And that's essentially it. That's the 5-step system, you know. Number one, do the highest leverage task. Number one, cut your losses. You're at where you're at. You've done what you got. You've done all the bad things you had to do. It is what it is. You can't undo them. But moving forward, you can change the action that you do take. So that's number one. Number two is, of course, sorry, my brain's gone blank as I'm filming this. Number two is pick the highest leverage task, right? You pick the highest leverage task, you're going to move the most spaces forward on the board. If it was a game and you know the aim of the game is to move forward as much as you can every day, the highest leverage task is the most important thing, which is why it's important to focus on that. And then you bolster that with number three, which is the micro wins. You know, these might not move you forward as much, but they maintain momentum and they reinforce your new identity of I'm not in a rut anymore, I'm progressing. I might not be at my peak level anymore, but you know what? I'm not at the bottom. I'm working my way up, right? Now, number four is to cut out the bad habits, because you think of bad habits as you're moving backwards. You're moving backward spaces. Every time you do a bad habit, you're moving backward spaces. So if you're cutting the bad habit, perhaps you're not moving forward, but you're stopping yourself from moving backwards. And then the fifth one is to change your environment, because doing that is sort of like I don't know. I'm a gamer, so I'll give gamer analogies, right? And it's sort of like having a buff, like an XP boost almost. Like changing your environment is like having an XP boost. So everything else you do, you're probably going to be able to do it more, move more steps forward, right? Because you're going to be in that correct mindset and not dragging yourself down, talking to yourself negatively. So I try to keep it short and sweet. But if you gain some value from this video, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. You already know that. If you know someone that needs to hear this, please send this to them, because word of mouth is the best form of promotion. So help me help you. And until the next one, go do something, and peace.